Hi, welcome back to another session on AZ-900 certification. This is the third day of training, wherein uh, we are focused on complete learning all the topics related to AZ-900 over a period of 5 days. And in this video, we're going to cover the Azure Compute Services specifically focused on app services, containers, and Azure functions. And you, as in order to clear Azure and you would need to have the basic understanding of these services with respect to how and when to use those services. So just a quick recap, we spent the first 2 days of the training to focus on basic cloud computing concepts from cloud types, services to shared responsibility and various other concepts. Then we deep dive into virtual machines, compute services to understand how virtual machines play a key role in infrastructure as a service capability and allowing customers to lift and shift their application to cloud. And today, as I said, we will focus on uh, architectural components and compute services focused on the application side or focused on allowing customer to build and deploy applications on the cloud. So, as when it comes to Azure Compute Services, uh, there you could have a virtual machine which is a lift and shift or infrastructure as a service to uh, cloud native services like app services, containers, and Azure function. So we'll go deep dive into each of these services before getting into a hands-on guide on how to create an app service and understand various properties and settings involved in creating an app service. App service is a basic compute service that is a completely platform as a service uh, compute service, which will help you to build and deploy applications and APIs without having to worry about the underlying infrastructure. So you will with app service, you'll also be able to automatically scale up or scale down depending on the traffic or depending on the need of the resources, you'll be able to scale up. So this is as I said, this is a platform as a service with performance and security that is required for enterprises to uh, build and deploy applications at scale. So app service there are many variations of app service that you can create from creating as a uh, app service for an API, for a web app, for on a particular technology stack like Java, .NET, Node, or you can create a container app service which is which doesn't depend on the technology stack. Now, that's when we say a container app service, which is nothing but your a, a, an app service which runs on an image like a Docker image or a container image. And Azure Container Services are more like a managed containers wherein you'll be able to manage multiple environments, container environments, and then and build and scale applications in containers without having to manage most of the container image related uh, activities. So Kubernetes is again a managed orchestration, helping applications to scale up and scale down based on the need and ensure the minimum number of servers and services are available and running. So depending on the need, depending on the customer requirement, uh, we will have to decide between an Azure App Service or container uh, instances, or even whether to go with any other services that is required. Now, when the other service that we need to look at is Azure Function. Azure Function is a serverless computing services which will help you to build an event-based application wherein if you want to trigger your logic or you trigger your services based on a event such as a new file being received or a new API request received or a database change triggered or various other uh, an entry into a service bus or a queue. So various other scenarios you would be if you want a very minimal code or a logic to be executed, then Azure Function is something that you will have to you can use, especially since it's completely and you don't have to worry about the infrastructure as well. It can run independently and then manage the whole services. So depending on the customer need and the requirement, we will typically decide or uh, choose between an app service, container instance, Kubernetes, or other function, and recommend a corresponding service to use. So now we'll quickly go into a step-by-step guide on how to create an app service. So here I have an app service instances. Now how we can get here is you can go to the search and say app services, and you will see the services listed here. Now when you go and create, you can create an web app, a simple static web app, or the app with a database. Let me go ahead and create a web app, and I'll say here, and you need to choose a subscription resource group, and let me choose something here. I'll choose one of the service group. Now you need to give a name to your app service learn 001. So it expects to be unique name, and next you need to choose your uh, protect. Either you can choose to deploy or build an app service specific to a tech stack. So if I select code, here I have the option to select whether it's .NET, Go, Java, or Node, PHP, and Python. So I can select a particular version of the tech stack, which means that I can only deploy, if I select .NET 8, I can deploy applications built on .NET. And if I have a Java app, a Java Spring Boot app or something to be deployed, then I choose a Java. If you want to go not to use any of these code specific, but use a container, Docker container, you'll be able to go ahead and choose Docker and then choose the relevant content registry and image change image details required for uh, the application. So let me go ahead and choose code here, and then I'll just choose .NET 7. And next is the region, right? So a region is typically you can decide depending on the location of the customers and how close you want to be to uh, the customer to ensure minimum latency. So I'm going to choose West US, and now you need to decide or decide on the plan and the size. So here are the various pricing right from the free to basic to premium. So I'm just going to use for this demo purpose, I'm going to use the free plan. And when next comes, once you select the basic details, now you can also configure the CI/CD from GitHub directly. So if I enable this, I can basically connect to my GitHub account and select the repository from where I want to deploy. And so, which means that every time I commit the code into the GitHub, it will be automatically deployed here using GitHub Actions. So I'm going to disable it for now. The next is you can control the access to this through VNet, subnets, and configuration. Monitoring is where if you want to enable app insights and go ahead and monitor your application from infrastructure point of view or application logs and everything, you'll be able to select the create the app insights centrally and review and monitor. Tags is for you to go and specify the purpose of this app service and details. And once everything is done, you can go ahead and review and so once all the validations are done, go ahead and initiate the request to create the app service. So once this is done, you will, since we have selected .NET as a technology and there is no container image, it would basically give you a default page which says welcome to app service, and on top of it you will be able to deploy your own application here. And remember, you have not even chose the GitHub CI/CD options, so now you need to manually configure or deploy the application. Now let's wait for this deployment to complete, and we'll quickly review various settings and properties that you can manage after the app service is deployed. So now here the app service is deployed. So if I go here uh, and if I do if I try to browse, so here I have a default page. Your web app is running and waiting for content. So this is the default page that you get in Microsoft whenever you are trying to whenever you deploy an app service, and if you're not chosen any custom image or custom code. So a quick review of the settings. So what the key thing you need to know is in deployment center, you will be able to manage the CI/CD and automated deployment settings, and also look at the previous deployments that have happened, the status and various details. Configuration is where you can choose the or you can manage the tech stack and custom configuration of your application that you need, like app settings, database settings, and various other properties that you need here. So example, if under application settings, I can add new settings that would be referred by the code. In general, I can change the tech stack because I've chosen tech stack here. And similarly, I can manage my default documents and paths. Since we have not enabled the app insights, I don't see any application insight created. And you could manage your backups and link this app service to custom domains or and this is only available in a basic or a premium version of the plan. And you could this is where you could do a scale up or a scale out. So scale up and scale out are basically two options to support your increasing traffic or increasing customer. So you can go ahead and do that in the settings. So this is one of the simple way of creating an app service and understanding its various settings. Now we'll go in deep detail into creating an Azure function, container instances, and various other settings. But for the purpose of AZ-900, all you need to know is the different services that are available and how uh, uh, and which one to use and when to use, depending on the customer need, and be aware of. the steps to create and configure. So with this, we have covered the basic compute services. Now the next step that is available that we need to cover is storage accounts, and that will go in detail into storage accounts in the next session, and you will be able to completely understand the storage accounts and various settings that are available. So thank you again. Any questions in this section of the training, feel free to put up a comment or ask me, and I'll ensure I'll revert back with the answers for your queries. So thank you, and look forward to meet you again.